My name is Richard C. Wilson, if we haven't met before. I started our investor club in 2007, and really it started with me just trying to figure out if I only want to meet with ultra-wealthy investors who are starting to call themselves family offices, how do I do only that? And nobody was helping me learn how to do it. So as I met with them, I started to share what I was learning. Back then, just on a blog, we started getting 100 hits a day, 500 hits a day, 1,000 hits a day. At age 25, I got in the front page of the Boston Globe and started getting invited to speak at different conferences. So I spoke a couple hundred times in 15 countries, started hosting our own little events, started hosting bigger events. Our first events at the Harvard Club were just 2 guest speakers and myself. Now, at our annual event in December this year, we'll have 150 speakers on stage and 1,700 people there. We just had our big event, the Single Family Office Summit in New York City, and we had 1,100 people at that event. We had 50 speakers on stage in one day, and we had 2 billionaire headliner speakers. So that was a lot of fun for those of you who are there. This is going to be different. Instead of hearing from 50 investors and trying to connect with a couple maybe that you could do deals with and hearing 50 different investor insights coming from the stage, we're going to give you 30 different capital raising strategies that you can take away from today. We're also going to have a couple of guest speakers that come up for 10, 15 minutes and just share what they've learned over raising, $500 million or a couple $100 million, et cetera. And everything we present today are things that we are using or our close partners are using, or we know many people in the investor club that we run, the Family Office Club, are using. So they aren't theories or guesses or things we read in articles. These are things that are working right now to help people raise capital. So whether you're running a hedge fund or a dental practice or private equity VC group, or you're a real estate developer or multifamily sponsor, 70 to 90% of what we say is going to be usable for what you're doing right now. And if you're finding ideas on stage here that you don't know how to apply, then just raise your hand, let us know, ask questions. There's probably somebody else wondering the same thing. Like, we get questions all the way from what is a CRM to what is an investor avatar, what is a choke point, what is a virtual family office. So just raise your hand and ask the question if I'm not defining it as we go, so we don't lose you or make it seem not practical in your case. We have all different types of investment structures here in the room. We have people watching from Singapore and the Middle East and Canada and Mexico. Obviously, your legal structure and your jurisdiction is going to change drastically what type of rules you need to follow. So just watch out for that. Don't go implement everything we say without talking to someone to make sure that you can do those things in your world. But also know that when we get to the sections where we talk about creating content and attracting investors, some of your competitors are on TV and on the radio and on podcasts and writing books. So if your attorney is just saying no to every single idea you have, then you should fire your attorney and find a very credible one who at least sometimes says yes, or helps you find out, how do I get on a podcast or TV? Not, nope, you can't talk to anyone. Nope, you can never talk in public, because that's not the answer either, right? Okay, so just this year, in 2022, just with my close investors, we've put $55 million of work into transactions within our investor club overall. A big multiple of that amount of deals have gotten done. As Andres said, we started 15 years ago. Our goal is to try to get around $100 million worth of capital to work each year through our clients. We've got a $100 million term sheet deal pending with one person here in the room. They met them at our conference. We have another $350 million deal that's pending that we met through one of our conferences. So hopefully we'll surpass that number today. But we work with families in all industries. So food, manufacturing, crypto. Almost all of our clients are either first generation wealth, or the son or daughter reached out and they are starting to formalize their family office because they need to pass it on to the next generation. We really don't work with anyone who's third or fourth generation wealth. Not that we turn them away, but for whatever reason, they've either figured stuff out or they're in a status quo kind of plateau level, and maybe they're very happy where they are. But we get reached out to by the first gen and early second gen. And those are most of the types of investors we work with on the high end side of net worth. We do have a lot of private investors, angel investor types in our network as well. And if you come to our investor summits, you'll see people that run other investor clubs that we don't see as competitive. We try to collaborate with them. And we'll have a group that has 800 investors in their own network, and they'll come and speak on stage at our events. So you can meet people like that really lead to exponential relationship growth for you. One of our keynotes for the Super Summit coming up is going to be Pierre DuPont from the DuPont chemical family. One of them is going to be John Bowen from Equity Trust. They manage $34 billion and do 1,000 transactions a year. They have 138,000 investor clients. one of our Family Office Club members, I asked him, how well do you know Equity Trust? And they said, oh, we've opened up 2,000 investor accounts with them since we met them. And we also have the CEO of the Panthers speaking at our event in the Super Summit as well. So we have a couple more headliners coming, but that's just a breadth of some of the people we work with. We have a lot of media platforms in our business. Last year we bought billionaires.com. We're doing exclusive interviews with billionaires and putting a few of them on stage at our events. 2 months ago we bought the largest social media asset in dentistry called Dental Peeps, rebranded it to Dental Club, and that helps us source dental deal flow and doctors as well. 2 years ago we bought commercialrealestate.com, and we're using that to build up a stable of $10 billion balance sheet firms to match them up with people within the Family Office Club. We've gotten 22 deals done with those billion-dollar balance sheet groups to date. But we also work with smaller passive investors. Like one of my favorite investors in our whole club is just 15 million net worth, but we've done 6 deals with them. Super nice people. They actually listen, practical people, and they add value to things. The reason I wanted to mention all of that is that there's not just one type of investor we're focused on. It's not like we're just robotically only talking 100 million plus net worth families. So we're like you. We work with the investor that happens to land in front of us, but also we're trying to aim at certain sleeves or types of investors and types of capital. As Andres mentioned, we've published 13 books since starting the business, put out a lot of content in the industry, and our goal is really to add value to someone before they've spent $1 with us, and then after they've spent $1 with us, add even more value so that the equation is always adding value to them first. And today we're going to be going through a 5-part series of information. It's basically a workshop version that goes more in depth based on what's covered in this book that you got when you walked in. And we're going to cover the first step, which is analyzing the market. The second step, which is most important, your position in the market. The third step, which is the homework that nobody wants to do, which is really architecting your position. It can also be thought of as protecting your position in the market. The fourth step is executing and just how to execute better. And then the fifth step is iterating on all of that and evolving it over time.